Today, we're diving into something that I know is going to be a game changer for you, especially with the pressure that I know you're feeling going into the second half of this year. It's really how to have a successful Faire Market. This will apply whether you're listening in real time, prepping for a summer market that's coming up, or even if it's winter market. This is not going to change. This is just really foundational, what works on that platform and with wholesale. If you're ready to take your wholesale business to the next level on Faire, I invite you to check out the Faire Bootcamp. It's the only program of its kind that combines a step-by-step growth approach to optimize and stand out on Faire and buyer relationship building strategies to capture the attention of your ideal retailers, both on and off the Faire platform. With bite-sized, action-focused trainings, the Faire Bootcamp is designed to deliver results as quickly and efficiently as possible because I know you are busy and you do not have time to waste. So to learn more, head over to kristenfishercoaching.com/Faire Bootcamp. It is a game changer season. We know that. And if you're listening in real time, we're officially 6 weeks out from the Faire Summer Market. And I really don't want you scrambling. I don't want you second guessing what you're working on. I want you to have a really clear and just simplified strategy that I know actually moves the needle. And we don't want you working yourself into the ground. The thing that always kills me about having a product business is that you should be able to enjoy the summer like everybody else that's not in product business. And you should be able to enjoy the holiday season. But that's not really like the reality. Those are our like rampant up seasons. We're relaxing whenever it's like the dead of winter in January. It's so boring, right? I want you to actually enjoy your summer. So like I said, listening real time, prepping for summer market, 6 weeks away, I want you to be able to look at this plan and calm your nervous system and just know, okay, I have a plan in place that I know is going to streamline, simplify the process, and just feel really aligned with what your goals are in your business so that you actually can enjoy your life this summer. You know, if you have kids, spend time with them, spend time with your friends, family, your partner, whatever. Just spend time with yourself out in nature, not just sitting here chained to our desks, right? Okay, so I don't want you to burn out. I want you to have a profitable summer. I want you to be able to hit your sales goals so you can spend those afternoons out on the patio, right? Soaking up the summer. So let's go through what I'm calling a three-step process, basically. I'm actually taking the VIP Faire Bootcamp students through this exact process this week. This week, right now, we're going through this. We're meeting every single day this week to get them prepped and set up with this during our market prep sprint week. If you're not inside the boot camp, I wanted to make sure that everybody had access to this because this is something that I just want to make sure you have in your hands. Okay, so I'm actually sharing the market prep planner with you for free. So it's a 6-week planner getting you ready for a really profitable, successful market step by step. It's exactly what I'm taking the VIP cohort through. Can't speak, words are tough, but it walks you through step by step of the plan, includes checklists, prompts to really just make sure that you have a foundation in place and you know what you should be focusing on each week to make sure that over the next 6 weeks, or if you're listening to this at a different time, you have a 6-week plan to get you ready in a really stress-free way. So I'm going to put the link in the show notes for you to grab it now so you can either follow along as we're chatting today or listen to this episode, download the planner, come back and re-listen to this to help you. Okay. So let's really get into it. So like I said, it's broken down into 3 big picture categories. These are kind of like the pillars of having a calm, intentional preparation leading into a big time period. And honestly, this isn't really that different from how you would conceptually think about a trade show in person. You just don't have the massive expense and all of the preparation and planning that goes into building out your booth. So it's like an easier version of that. So if you've done trade shows, you know the drill. This is a simplified version, but the amount of sales revenue you can do during a fair market rivals what you can do spending 5 figures on a booth for a trade show. I do still think trade shows are relevant. It's just a little bit different now. Okay, so step 1, set your plan. Set your plan. Before you jump into all the doing, I want to make sure that you're really pausing and taking some time to reflect so that you are not repeating mistakes or you're just improving what already works. Okay, so I want you to really look backward before you look forward. So let's first reflect on past markets. Definitely start with the market that you're planning for, reflect on that same market last year, and also reflect on your most recent market. Because there are definitely trends related to the economy that could have impacted your most recent. But you also want to look at that exact time period because you might have, seasonal products or your business might perform better during different times of year. So really look at both, but reflect on past markets and identify what worked, what definitely did not work, and be honest with yourself. So I want you to really look at it from all angles, including your process, your product, and also your energy. Like, how did you feel? What was your energy going into it? Sometimes we get really caught up in doing everything perfectly and it's like, oh, okay. So let's start looking at your process. I want to know, I really want you to think about if you were scrambling to update your Faire page at the last minute, were you, let's say like your email marketing, did you just skip it because you were just like, I got to prioritize something and this has got to go? Were buyers ghosting you because you weren't following up properly? Or rather, were they ghosting you and you weren't following up because you felt like they ghosted you? That's missed opportunity right there. That's obviously like a little bit more specific to like visibility. But when it comes to your process, having a process in place to make sure that the outreach and all the work that you're doing, you're actually following up. What's that process look like? It could look like, did you see a boom in orders and you were drowning because you didn't have the right support and help in place? It could also look like, on a personal side, what was going on during that time period? Did you not really think about what else was going on outside of that time period in your life and actually not have support in place to help you with, maybe it's shuffling your kids to and from things, or maybe you forgot that you had a family vacation on the heels of it and you were just like spiraling. It could also look like your fulfillment process. Did you have opportunity to set up your studio or your warehouse in a different way for that peak season? So really thinking through the process piece of it in all aspects. When it comes to your product offering, really identify what sold, what didn't sell, what surprised you. Did you have the right optimal amount of SKUs? Were you highlighting the right things? Meaning the products that are your hero products or evergreen bestsellers, regardless of the time of year, those should still be highlighted, even though you might be tired of them, right? Buyers definitely want to be investing right now in things that they know are going to sell. So making sure that you're really highlighting the things that you know sell well and positioning them in a way that feels fresh and new, whether they've been around for years or not, right? And then also your new products, how are you highlighting them in a way that gives your buyers confidence? They want to feel confident that what they're buying is actually going to sell now more than ever. So really making sure those hero products are shining, that you don't have too many SKUs and you're not throwing spaghetti at the wall with all your offerings. Making sure from a marketing perspective, as you're highlighting these products, going through and saying, okay, I need to make sure that I have reels and emails and visuals that make these hero products really compelling, and also this new collection, and also that I'm speaking to the fact that I'm in the market and what they should buy. Like, what are the best sellers? Let them know, okay? All of these things are not judgment. I want to stress that. It's just really about refining and repeating what works and cutting out what doesn't so that you can really hone in and focus and not feel like you have to do all the things. Focus on what really drives your business and make sure you've nailed the marketing, the messaging, the placement. Everything's really highlighted and visible from a product perspective. And then just lastly, from your energy, like, how did you feel? How did it feel? Did it feel out of control? Did you feel like you had a good plan in place? Like, how did that feel? And what can you do differently this time to make it better? Or what do you need to repeat? Like, oh, maybe I outsourced. I had a cleaner come in during that time period to clean my house. And that was a game changer. And I'm going to make sure I do that every time there's a market, holiday season, busy season, whatever, right? Think about how you can protect your energy during a really intense time period. Intense meaning we put a lot of pressure on the market to do well, right? Intense meaning if you get a lot of orders, that's amazing. So make sure you're set up for success there. If you haven't had a lot of orders, think about what could be done differently, right? Don't just think Faire is going to suddenly produce all these orders if it hasn't been working in the past. You got to do something different. Now, the next piece of this, so we talked about the reflection. Now I want you to define what success actually looks like for you, for your business. What does a successful market actually look like for you? Have a goal so that you can reflect back and say, oh, okay, market was actually good. Sometimes like we don't have a goal. And then if we're not getting sales every single day, it's like, it was a failure. But then you look back and you're like, well, actually, I didn't have sales every day, but I had a more profitable market. I had a higher average order value. I got more repeat buyers or more new retailers coming in. So set boundaries or not boundaries isn't the right word. Set your success metrics so that you know what success looks like. So that could be a specific revenue number, sales number. It could be a specific number, certain number of new accounts. Could be a reorder rate from your existing stockists. So this is really that chance to just zoom out, get really intentional, and reverse engineer your plan, reverse engineer it that supports your vision of what a successful market looks like. So if your goal is, I want to get a certain number of new accounts in, then you know you need to spend the majority of your energy focusing on finding new retailers to start nurturing and pitching, right? If your goal is to increase your average order value or even just increase your revenue, then you need to be focusing on looking at also doing what I just said. The outreach and the marketing is important, but also, do you have the right product mix, right? Are you able to actually increase that with what you have available to sell? Okay. And then obviously you have to set your discount, do all the things to make sure that you're really set up in the system for it. So this audit is built into that market prep planner. So there's space to map it out and really help you just kind of reflect and then set your new plan. So that is in there for you to work through. Like I said, it's in the show notes if you want to grab it. So step 2 is market and your outreach strategy. So this is really that visibility piece. I really cannot stress it enough. In a down market period, widening your net is the play. Widening your net is the play. Getting more eyes on your business is more critical than ever. You can't rely on your past retailers to do all the heavy lifting for you because they'll come back and buy from you likely, but they may not buy as much as they used to just because they're being tighter with their spend. They're still buying, but they might be tighter with their spend. So when we're talking about your market and your outreach strategy, your visibility, this includes the content that you're sharing, the emails that you're sending, like the true marketing emails, and also your pitching and your outreach, which includes sample mailers, pitch packages, just actual postcard mailers, all the things that really help retailers, new stockists find you, remember you, and trust you enough to place that order. They're being more discerning, so you need to be showing up more than ever. And having a really good marketing and outreach strategy is going to be key to making sure that you get more eyeballs on your business. So obviously nurture, protect the relationship that you have with those top retailers, but then and warm them up, right? Warm them up, make sure that they remember you, especially, if they haven't bought from you since the last market or the market before. This is a really good time to reach out and nurture them, but spend a lot of energy really identifying new retailers and pitching them. Doesn't mean you have to be like posting nonstop or pitching nonstop, but identify a nice, healthy number that you can pitch to and follow up and nurture. Don't forget about them because they're cold, right? They don't know you yet. So you have to nurture them and really make sure that they know that you exist and what your product is like. So you're going to have to show up consistently. You're going to have to share what your new products are, what your best sellers are. Even if you're bored of it, you got to keep posting it, right? And really align your messaging across all your channels. So your email, Instagram, your mailers, all the things. And having clarity around what your goal is and also those hero products, what's really important to the success of your business, will allow you to identify what those streamlined messages need to be so that you're really clear when you're creating content, what you need to speak to over and over and over again. Okay. The thing I want to leave you with on this section is buyers get their carts ready early. So I would always have my cart full before market week started because I was spending time in the weeks leading up to it, looking at what I needed to buy to replenish my inventory, upcoming things I was working on, what I wanted my, fall holiday assortments to look like. So I would get my cart ready so that my market week wasn't stressed. So you're probably going to start seeing product getting in the carts, and that can get you, a little excited around, okay, these buyers are interested. Doesn't mean they're going to buy all that. I used to put so much stuff in my cart and then filter down whenever I started to see everybody that I wanted to buy from during market week. But the point of this diatribe is that buyers get their cart ready early, so you need to be primed and ready. So don't leave your optimization to the last minute because it's going to probably be too late. Don't leave your outreach and your marketing to the last minute because that's going to potentially be too late. You want your goal to be those key buyers. You want as many retailers as possible to have your product in their cart before the market starts. You'll see a higher conversion rate if that is a focus of yours. Okay. And then the last section, shocker, is optimization. You're probably sick of me saying it, but optimize your Faire page. Optimize the hell out of your Faire page. So listen, the algorithm is not like a magical mystery. It's pretty straightforward at the top line. The algorithm rewards pages, listings, brands that are active, that have follow the rules basically when it comes to like their imagery and their structure. They're optimized, right? They're engaging for retailers and then therefore converting. So when you boil it down, you want to just make sure it looks good and the words that you have on the page are actually what your buyers are looking for, because that answers their questions. It primes your product to be put in front of the right retailers and then allows them to convert without having to ask any questions. But because of that, you need to make sure you're giving the algorithm something to work with. So this means updating your listings with keywords that are seasonally relevant, that they're searching for. It means updating your imagery to be seasonally relevant. If you haven't updated your hero image in a while, now's the time. You're going to have more traffic coming to your page. Make sure your categories are up to date, your collections are in a good place. And really, I want to make sure you do not underestimate the product descriptions for your evergreen products. Just because they've been up for a while does not mean you should sleep on them. In fact, just tweaking them to be seasonally relevant, it can be a big game changer for you because you already have the algorithm trained to know that buyers like those products. So if you just tweak it seasonally, update your imagery, that kind of thing, you're going to really do yourself a lot of favors there. So I want to make sure that you're always updating those bestsellers seasonally to be relevant in addition to those new listings. So at the end of the day, you could have like the most amazing spot on pitches or content, whatever. If a buyer comes to your Faire page and it's cluttered, it's outdated, your product descriptions are not very informative, they look a little messy, then they're not going to convert because there's so much competition during that time period. Their cart is full of other brands. They're going to be just like boom, 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 boom. I'm moving on. I'm placing my order and moving on. Like buyers make really fast decisions. Okay. So before you do any outreach, I want you to make sure that you are optimizing, you're cleaning up those listings, the collections and your imagery, all of the things so that when they land on your page and start making their cart or building their cart out, it looks good, right? So make sure you've done that. Make sure you're highlighting those best sellers. Make sure you're refreshing all your visuals. Make sure the nitty gritty is still relevant. So like your lead times and anything's unique to your business is updated, because that is a big, big, big thing. Once you get into market, if you're like, oh, my normal 5 to 7 day turnaround turns into 2 to 4 weeks, you want that listed like a little bit before the market, right? Not a crazy amount of time, because you don't want to scare other retailers off if they're planning on buying in advance. But make sure you're thinking through that stuff so that, the week before the market, it reflects what your market turnaround time is going to be. Okay, so at the end of the day, just think about your Faire shop feeling curated and relevant, seasonally relevant, like your own version of your e-commerce site or a boutique, right? You don't want to be a product dump of every SKU you've ever had. It really needs to be cleaned up and tight so that they're not hunting and digging and pecking. This isn't the time for that. So really keep it tight. So the planner includes a checklist for you to make sure that you don't miss any of these steps. And so I know I kind of like went through a bunch of things here. I just want to give you kind of that like top line thing to get your wheels turning. But the planner will give you a checklist and just helps you to prioritize what's going to move the needle more in your business, so you don't feel like you have to do all the things, right? Can't stress that enough. Okay, so that's it. That is your 3-part plan to make the most of your Faire Market season. So you set that plan, doing the reflection, and it's helping to inform the plan for that time period so that you are really defining what success looks like. So when you hit success, you can celebrate that, right? Build your visibility, create that marketing plan, get more eyeballs on your business, and really hone in on what you need to focus on. And then optimize your shop. All things optimization is really important. And when you boil it down, it's simple, right? It's really strategic. All of this just gives you room to make sure that you can enjoy your summer while still growing your business. Really have to make sure that you're enjoying the limited months if you live on the East Coast or in the Midwest, like these limited, beautiful months. Make sure you're taking advantage of it and really, prioritizing your life while also moving the needle forward. Okay. So like I said, if you want this full 6-week market prep planner, the full checklist for each of those categories, it's a week by week planner with prompts, all the things, checklist to make sure you're in a good place. It's a really good companion to this episode, but it goes way deeper. I wanted to make sure you had this resource to help you see success in the summer market and beyond. You can use this planner for any market season. So here's what I want you to take away from today's chat. You don't need to do all the things to make this a successful market. You just need to do the right things for your business, the right things for your business. And you only know what those things are if you pause, reflect, and set the plan. And you know what you need to focus on in order to achieve that definition of success for you. So you don't have to do everything. You just have to do the right things. Okay. So we want this summer to really feel profitable and feel good for you. You just need a plan that supports both. Okay. So download that planner, come message me in the DMs. I want to hear how you are working through it, what you think. Give me your feedback. I love it. I want to hear it. And I'd love for you to just share with me on Instagram at Kristen Fisher Coaching what your goal is for summer market. That would be amazing. Okay. So come download the planner and then come tell me. All right. Cheering you on as always. I'll see you in the next chat. Thanks so much for spending some time with me today. If you are loving the show, I would be so beyond grateful if you would rate and review the podcast and share it with one of your biz besties to help spread the word. I hope that you absolutely crush your sales this week. I'll be back to chat with you next Monday.